UK. Bore da, good morning. Croeso i'r gynhadledd ar gyfer y ddwy gêm gyntaf yn rhwng World Cup yn y byd. Welcome to the press conference for the first two qualifying games for the World Cup with Craig Bellamy. Obviously, it's Kazakhstan and North Macedonia. Well, about half an hour here, and then 20 minutes with the written press, and then we'll break out for our one-to-one interviews after that. Who wants to go first? Geraint?
Hey, Craig.
How are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm very well. Lovely to see you as well, Craig. I don't think you have two guesses where I'm going to start, but about Aaron.
I do, yeah. Yeah.
I think the question is, what's the extent of the injury, as you understand? How is he as well? Because it must be awful just hours before you hope to come back in to a Welsh squad, and then the impact for you as well when you've got to rejig a squad just hours before you're announcing it. So lots of questions. I know they're in one, but I think how is he and what's the extent of the injury?
No, I spoke to him this morning. It's a tough one for him. It's tough. I've got to be honest, personally, football-wise, for like a selfish capacity or Wales job, I don't really care. Him as the person is more important. Like I've known him since he was 5, so to watch his hard work, and this is not just this period, throughout his career, the consistency he's able to show, the elite level he's been able to play at, but the person he is, that's probably more, I care about that more, and the extent of the injury we do not know. We'll find out maybe later. But as a person, I think he tried to be a little bit apologetic towards me. And the first thought in my head was, don't you ever apologise towards me. I couldn't be more prouder of him as a person. His playing career has been one of the most incredible. He's actually been one of my favourite players over the last number of years. What he's done for us as a country, what he's done for the club football here, and what he's done for young people in Wales. I'm beyond proud to know him. So for me, it's just more about him as a person. That's the honest truth. That's all I care about. And we'll just let the next couple of days settle down. Rejigging the squad, it's nothing uncommon. It's nothing uncommon. Do I expect more changes again? We've got another round of games Saturday, another round of games today. Had 8 players missing last camp. Did we talk about them? No. Doesn't matter. That's the honest truth. We have good players. There will be players coming in, players going out. There is no excuses. That's why we use so many players in the last group of games. To be prepared for these scenarios, and we are prepared for them. So what we turn up with on Sunday, that will be the group, hopefully going into the 2 games, and whoever we have will be in a good position.
Just a thought again on, again, it's showing the strength that you built up, and the players, even young players, that a number of caps and that are senior within the team. You've got that. So I suppose a quick question is, does the captaincy automatically, for example, bend from here?
You love this captaincy business. It's like...
Craig, if you made me the captain of Wales for 2 seconds, I'd be the proudest man on
No, will you not be proud just playing?
Anything, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So it's about that leadership, I suppose, with...
We have loads of leaders.
His
No, honestly...
But also
I know your question. We don't worry about it. Honestly, I mean that. It's like... We are beyond leaders. I think that's how you get to the level with the players we have. It's fine. It's really like we have leadership groups. I don't know if in work, Sky, you have leadership groups. You're a great company, of course you would. And you all, do you feel like a leader in that group?
No comment.
But no, you give people the responsibility, and they take it as well. So. Honestly, some people lead by example, some people, their experience and how they command their voice. But it's not. I believe in giving everyone the power to be to have an opinion. I feel that's very valuable. And so I never caught up in, you know, that yellow stripe that goes around your arm and that's you, like, you know, I'm never too caught up in that. I feel we have a lot of leaders, and that comes from even the masseuse and physios, and because we all have to play a part.
What's the last 3-4 months been like for you? The Nations League campaign was intense and wonderful, but then that's a long break for you without on the field. I know you've been very, very busy, but what has the gap been like up until now, getting the players on the grass again?
Yeah, it's been long. 4 months. It was nice at the start because we just went month by month, so it was nice to be able to. You felt like you had a couple of weeks and you were back in camp. But this period has been new for me, so it allowed me to review a lot of the last 6 games, the Nations League cycle. You know, review a lot of the meetings that we've done and just what we could improve on, what was good, and then give me an opportunity as well. Go and see a lot of games, which. With the coverage we have anyway, you don't always have to travel, but I, you know, managed to go and see a lot of games live, go to a lot of places, do a lot of work here as well, which has been good. So, yeah, it's been busy. It's been a real busy period, which has been great for me. So I think we've been quite busy. Would you agree?
I would agree with that, Craig.
Yeah. You've enjoyed it?
I have.
Yeah, good. That's like my main ambition is, like, as long as he's happy, that. But we've had a good time as well, haven't we? It's
and more to come.
And more to come. Yeah, we got a good one Friday. Yeah. So it's. But it's. I feel it's so important to be able to do that as well. It's important to go out there. I've got to watch Welsh League as well. Which has been which I've enjoyed. I feel it's important to connect to football, not just people only see you at certain games. Like I looked at, I watched Bayern Munich and Leverkusen on telly, and Tuchel was there, and then a day later I was at Cairo. So I think it's always been that way for me. But I've enjoyed it, and that's the honest truth. It's been as much as you'd want the players and you want to be active. It's been nice as well to be able to, to look back on what you found over the last number of games, but also what you can improve on to go forward.
Just a final one from me. This is preparation for a World Cup qualifiers. That word, World Cup qualifiers, getting to the 2026 World Cup. How have you maybe in these 4 months, how have you changed any of your plans, any of your views because of the qualifying campaign, and maybe also just how excited is the wrong word, but just how up for it are you, this challenge of getting Wales to another World Cup? You have a World Cup qualifying campaign in front of you. How do you feel about that?
No, we built, over the last number of games towards this as well. So, changing the shapes in games. We got to around about 9, so that's with and without the ball. So that allows us to be flexible. We can adapt. Now, we need to be able to adapt in this group. Kazakhstan is a completely different game to what North Macedonia are going to be. Watched a lot of the games, a lot of the teams. But if I'm being honest, it's so important. Like, as much, listen, I'm really keen on this World Cup, but it has to be step by step. Kazakhstan is the most important. What we're able to do, how we're able to play, it's going to be a completely different game, different circumstances. I got a relatively good idea of what they're going to do. They might change. I don't see it as much. But the work I've done on Kazakhstan, Then they changed their manager over in January, so now we have a temporary manager. I'm not sure what a temporary manager means in an international. Like, I imagine he's going to be the manager for the games, but then going back into the work of where he was at his club and how he, and so you've got a good feel of what he does. So coming into the game on a Saturday, it's going to be a difficult game. And the more I've looked at it, the more I've looked at North Macedonia, and obviously Belgium, there's Liechtenstein, but it's a tough group. They all create their own different scenarios, different problems. But what we've picked up, and I'd like to believe we're able to keep improving. So that makes me excited. And hopefully at the end of it, we get the outcome we all want.
That's great, David.
Great, good to see you. Just to build on Garrett's question there about the World Cup, I know during the Nations League you talked about not just qualifying for the World Cup, but making an impact there after the disappointment of Qatar. And a lot of the players talk about unfinished business. I know you've talked about missing out on a chance to represent Wales at a major tournament as a player. So it feels like there's loads of different incentives. You can't have too many, can you? Can you talk about the inspiration of getting to this next World Cup and having that impact?
No, of course. I feel the more you look at it, the more you can get overwhelmed and it becomes too personal. It's nice to feed that in at times, but we really, I've sort of tried to strip it back down, and really one step at a time now. Now we know where our goals are, we know what we want to do, but we have to take it step by step. Now Kazakhstan, like you heard me just say then, is the most important. That's the most important game. So the body of work we're doing a week leading into that, and then we're switched then straight ready for North Macedonia. But Kazakhstan for me now at this present moment is all where my head's at. And I believe if we keep the consistency, and that's coaching staff as well, and the players, everyone, we keep the consistency of what we've built, that allow us to have a great opportunity of being able to achieve those objectives.
Taking it back to the squad, one new name in Kai Andrews. What can you tell us about him, and what is it that you see in him that excites you? I've
watched his games with the 19s, physically, but his ability to look after the ball. There's, of course, plenty of habits that need improving, which young players completely understandable. But I've always liked working with young players. I don't know whether that's my role in development. Now he's 18, but at Anderlecht we give debuts at 16, so it's quite normal. And I see him as a high potential player in an area where we need quality. So he's maybe a bit more fast-tracked than what usually would be the case in international football, but an area that we need to strengthen, and he's the perfect profile. What I've seen to be able to do that.
Yeah, because you've mentioned midfield in the past, haven't you? That maybe that's one area where in the last few years Wales have struggled for depth. So is there an opportunity there for someone like Kai to put their hand forward, a bit like Jordan James did a couple of years ago?
Mate, you always have an opportunity. It doesn't matter, I was 18 when I made my debut for Wales, and the idea was to try, and that was my fault, was stay in here, not just to go out one camp. It was to try and be in here now and try and do this week by week. Week by week, because it's not the same. Obviously, that was a small club, but international was make sure I'm there in the next camp, and that's always the case. That's always the aim. But it'd be nice to work with him as well. I've really liked his qualities, and I'm really excited about where he can develop. Now, obviously, the club are going to have to play a big part in developing. I know he's on loan at Motherwell at the moment, which I've seen his games from there. But I don't know, there's something more about this kid. He has a presence, and that excites me.
And just finally from me, not a new face as such, but Tom Lawrence is back in after a few years out. Can you talk about his recall and what he could offer?
No, I've been trying to get Tom involved in the last couple of camps, but He's been injured. And the one camp, we were going a different way, so we didn't quite need that profile in that area at that time. So he's a player I've been like in regular contact with, and he's been waiting, and I've been waiting. Really, we're just waiting for the right moment to be able to bring him in. And yeah, of course, so we get the opportunity to have a look at Tom. He's a player I know, player with definite qualities I really like. He also has a good understanding of the game, good discipline. So he'll definitely add to the squad.
Thanks, Rick.
Jack, no, Lawrence, do you want to go next?
Yeah, great. Hi, Craig. Just wondering, in terms of the playoff place that looks like it's pretty much guaranteed for the Nations League, is that a positive for you going into the campaign?
I think so, yeah. I'd like to believe, yeah.
Does it help focus to go into the qualifying?
Look, we got to take care of these games. That's the honest truth. Like Kazakhstan, if we can get really positive results in the next two, then we'll see where we go. But my honest, I tried to learn this as I was playing as well, just one game. Can you win every game? You know, what can you do for Kazakhstan? How they set up, can we adapt to this, and can we really cause them a problem in this game? Then we'll worry about the next one. But my psyche and how I look at it is to win every game, set up to win. Now, of course, I'm not as clever as a lot of people in this room, but if you win every game, then we've got a good chance of qualifying. But that's the plan, honestly. And it was the same with the Nations League. Of course, I wanted us to create our identity of who we are, how we're going to go about it. Now we need to show big reminders of that because we haven't had them for 4 months. So we go back into, especially with the intro meeting, of the good habits, bits when we don't do it well. So need reminding of that as well. But is really to go back to who we are, what we're going to need to do, and then tick off the games. Hopefully just get the positive results in all the games we can.
Just looking at Nico Williams and how he's progressed this season, how impressed have you been in terms of the form that he's been showing and the fact he's sort of fought his way back into that Forest team?
Yeah, Nico, he's been brilliant for us. He was, of course, like one or two players found themselves not starting when we first started the camp. I'm pretty sure I did remind a lot of people it's a long season. And it is, and I feel with someone like Nico's qualities, it's proven that you will get your chance because the volume of games and what we're seeing right now at this present moment, the amount of games, I just feel like every single one of our players at the moment are playing twice a week. So I believe if you have that type of quality, it's going to shine through sometime. And it has, and he's been able to keep hold of that as well, and not just keep hold of it, been really impressive. Even how we played against Salah a couple of months ago was one of the best I've seen a fullback up against him, even though we've seen an incredible example of it last night. But he's been outstanding, but he's been also outstanding for us in the games, like how positive he is in his play, but also how versatile he is. We've been able to use him in 4 different shapes, and that's a huge plus for us. That's with his quality and, like I said, being versatile, it's like a massive, the flexibility he has is huge for how we go about it.
And just sort of building on that, in terms of when you leave a club like Liverpool, and I'm not saying that Nottingham Forest aren't a big club, but when you leave a club that you've been at for your boyhood and then go to another club, to be able to kind of, I suppose, keep that enthusiasm, keep that push going is impressive for a young man. 20
years of age, can ball for 20 odd million, he should be okay. That should give you enough motivation because you get back. I mean, he's actually getting back now. If you look at it, the leap Forest have made, no one could have seen that coming. Of course, they heavily invest, but from where they were last year compared to where they are now, the jump, it's been incredible for them, outstanding. And Forest, I don't know, maybe the Brian Clough 80s are always in my head. They've always been a top club. And actually, as a football fan, I've actually really enjoyed seeing them. I like seeing them where they are. and having a Welsh player playing such a prominent role, it's really satisfying. And his character's top. He's really good.
Does anybody else have any other questions in this session? No? Okay, diolch yn fawr. We'll break out, we'll do the written press first for about 20 minutes. Then we'll do the one-to-ones, as it goes, and then the BBC. So while we do the written press here, if you could be respectfully quiet, switch off the microphone, switch off the cameras, please, so that the written press can have some peace and quiet here to talk to Craig for about 20 minutes. Okay, diolch yn fawr, see you in a minute. Diolch.